way we absorb the various nutrients we need, but also you got to remember that we also absorb toxins and bad stuff as well. So the whole science of digestion and gut health and stuff has really, taken a prominence of late. Although I will say this, I think you've got to be careful because there's a lot still that we don't fully understand and don't know. So every so often you get somebody who's like, "This is the answer. We know everything. This will cure every disease." And I always take that with a bit of salt because I don't think we know everything there is to be known. It's a complex world, our digestive systems. As far as the vagus nerve goes, in terms of my world, we do deal with it on for a number of reasons. One is that it can get caught up in tumors, it can get caught up in aneurysms up in the head, so we got to be careful of it and protect it. But also there are procedures that we've done where we hook up electrodes to the vagus nerve, and it can help control uncontrollable seizures. So that's one thing. And then there's research going on to see if it could even help with depression for a number of different reasons. So we do periodically work on the vagus nerve. When we do the electrode stuff, we actually go into the neck, and it sits behind our carotid artery, and you can find it there and hook these electrodes up to it if you need to.
Wow, gosh, that's amazing. So you can hook up electrodes into your nerve through the neck, and this will help with depression?
Well, we don't know for sure yet, but it's a field of research.
God, okay, okay, it's a field of research. But I mean, if you can help someone with depression, like anything, it's amazing. Like that.
That would definitely be a big deal. I mean, the whole world, neurosurgery is really expanding into this world of placing electrodes in various areas, particularly deep in the brain, to try to help various diseases. And as I was saying before, we know we can help Parkinson's patients with those electrodes with deep brain, what we call deep brain stimulation or DBS. There are certain psychological conditions that we may be able to help with. There's a lot of research going in on depression on that, and we may be able to help people with certain types of seizures as well. So yeah, that's an area that's really going to expand over the next many years.
How do you see that expanding? Because from my point of view, from what we're talking right now, it seems like a dead end, right? Because if it sounds so invasive. You need to open your neck, like get those electrodes in there. Like how are you gonna sell that? I don't. But let me correct myself. I'm sorry. If someone has Parkinson's, I think they might buy.
Well,
Anyway.
yeah, I mean, your point is really well taken. It's funny. Through the years, there's always a little give and take or a little, I don't know, tit for tat, whatever they call it, between the surgical doctors and the medical doctors. And, we often get told as surgeons, oh, well, you guys, you're just technicians. You don't have to talk to patients. And I'm like, are you kidding? If you're you don't think we have to talk to somebody who we're telling, that, oh, we're going to open up your head and take a section of your brain tissue out or something. You have to do a lot of talking to patients. And your point is very well taken, though. These are big, nasty operations, and those ones are. Now, I'll tell you, the electrode ones aren't that bad, but some of the things we do to people are pretty gruesome. So, to do them as a surgeon, for you to recommend them even, you better be pretty convinced that the benefits are worth the risks. And so a patient who has something that's very bad is more likely to want to do these surgeries, more likely to want to submit to them. But it's interesting. For example, this idea of deep brain stimulation. What we do for that, for Parkinson's, is we use computers, we use all sorts of special devices, but we basically make a hole in the skull, make a little opening into the brain, and pass a very thin set of electrodes deep into the brain in a very precise manner. And then we bury the wires under the scalp, and we bring them down to the chest, where we make an incision in the chest, and we put a little battery pack there, what we call a pulse generator. But it's like a pacemaker, like a pacemaker for the heart, but this is a pacemaker for the brain. And the operation, we do, you know, uh, pretty smoothly, not a lot of discomfort for the patient. And the benefits, like as you say, for something like Parkinson's, can be tremendous. I mean, it's stunning sometimes to see the improvement when you turn these devices on.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. Gosh, that's incredible. That's so interesting. And I think it has a lot to do with your point of view, of course, right? You can either say, "Oh, I have Parkinson's now, I need to live with this thing," or you can just embrace it like, "This is amazing. I don't have Parkinson's anymore. More this device kind of transformed my life. I'm kind of like Iron Man, you know." you can you can have a joyful, interesting point of view, and I think that's the best approach. But while you mentioned like you drill through the skull, I just remembered that's similar as I assume it's similar to what Neuralink is doing. Have you been following what they're developing at Neuralink?
Yeah, I've certainly read about it. I haven't really followed those guys that much. I'm not sure I trust them all that much, but I'm sure great things will come of it. But I started as a military doctor. I have a lot of close friends who've been military docs, and they're really the ones who got into that world fairly early, when troops were coming back with severe head injuries and paralysis and stuff like that. And the Department of Defense really put a lot into research into could you connect um, the brain electronically, for example, to robotics. And the brain's an amazing thing, and it turns out that if you put a bunch of electrodes in the brain or on the brain in certain areas, you can